Welcome back, everybody, for Business and Life Stories with James and Mike. This week, we're joined by one of the co founders of Wise Humanity, who is Davide Pagnotta. And for those of you who are more technically minded, I would like all of you to know that Davide has a master's in physics. He also has an MBA from London School of Economics. And what he's doing now is very different from either of those, but today we're going to find out how all that got integrated into what he's doing and learn more about Wise Humanity. Welcome, Davide.
Thank you, Mike.
Hi there, I'm Davide. Welcome. I'm super excited. We had this lovely conversation, and I will declare to the world here that this almost never happened because we've been trying to coordinate this across 3 time zones. I'm not sure whether New Zealand's a continent, but certainly 2.5 continents. And I messed it up once, and I felt dreadful about it. And now we've made it happen. The time zone is 7:15 or 7:10 for me here in the morning. I believe it's about 7:10 for you, or 8:10 for you in the UK. Is that correct? And then Mike, yes. I've got no idea what you are. Are you 2 or 3 in the afternoon or something?
It's about 2:10 in the afternoon.
And really, I guess the only reason that came into my head that your journey into coaching, Davide, has incorporated a few twists and turns, and so it'd be lovely to hear kind of how you've progressed from physics and a physics background through being through your corporate life into what I consider is a truly wonderful course. So over to you, sir.
So literally a few hours ago, I had a conversation with an American company CEO, and he saw it and another twist in my story. So I'm gonna say the way he saw my story. So the reason I studied physics, and then I started a career as an engineer, basically in different engineering companies. And the reason I did that was that I loved physics, and I won 2 PhD positions, one in the US, actually, one in Switzerland. And I went to visit both the places, and it felt too abstract. I mean, I did physics, so I like the idea of studying and investing in something that maybe will be only usable in a number of years. That's fine. We need to do that. But that was just too abstract and too just focused on doing more research and moving on without really any impact on life on this planet. And so I decided to start a career, in companies. And I went through a number of engineering companies. I moved, obviously Italian, and then I moved at some point I moved to the UK, and then I did an MBA here. So I was going through my the normal journey that they teach you that you should be doing. Well, the MBA was life-changing for a number of reasons. One was for the MBA itself. That was a great experience. But one of the courses that I actually took there was a profoundly transformative course, like a personal growth course, as part of the MBA. And a couple of years later, I realized that literally one day I woke up and I realized, oh my God, I'm using all the tools that I learned at that course. And I've realized that I was happier than before, more solid, more resilient than before. My relationships were easier to manage, more authentic. I was less scared, less afraid of being myself. And I was a better. I felt like I was a better person and a better leader as well in the company where I was working. And so that made me get closer to the professor that was teaching that personal development course that I'd taken during my MBA. And then I continued. In the meantime, I continued my career. the last role I had, I was the head of the energy business unit of a German company, of a global company, and by that time, I also taken a coaching diploma in the meantime. But by that time, I realized that the real resource of companies is not the technology, but the people. And there was a massive restructuring in the company where I was working for. They gave me a great payout, and then I thought, okay, I can find another job like this, or I can start doing something completely different, but more aligned with what I had become by then. And so I started working with that professor full time. So he was a professor. He's still alive, but he's not a professor anymore at Columbia Business School in New York and London Business School here. And so I started working with him for almost 4 years. And there I also met Elizabeth, who's now the other co-founder of Wise Humanity. And then this professor went basically retired, and Elizabeth and I founded Wise Humanity. That's just over 2 years ago. So the brand itself has been operating for a little over 2 years. I've been doing what I do full time for 6. And I use a lot of physics, actually. So the circle has closed. I use a lot of physics in what I do. Neuroscience a lot, and I've also traveled to India a number of times to take courses on Eastern philosophies, and which, funnily enough, or actually unsurprisingly, to be honest, contemporary physics is confirming a lot of the things that spirituality and a millennia of internal introspection had already found. Starting from how we create our idea of reality, how the importance of our mental maps in creating our experience of life, which is also something that gives us freedom, because we may not have control over the things that happen around us, but we have control on what we do with them. That's it. It was a long, for an elevator pitch, we needed like a big skyscraper, but
yeah, man.
This is it.
So,
I think that's,
what does Wise
fantastic.
Humanity do?
So what we do, we help people understand their inner world. And we start from like the one very basic but fundamental thing, which is like the voice in our head. And that it has a massive role in creating your whole experience of life. Because if you think about how many times you actually have conversations with this voice, or you just listen to this voice narrating what is happening around you and the interpretation that it gives you. So it's a fundamental aspect of how our mind works. So we start from there, understanding what this voice is, how we create our experience of reality, and how, in our normal language, we feel victims of things that happen to us outside and inside, but we're not. So a lot of the obstacles that we find in life are self-created. And can I say bullshit on this?
Yeah, of course. You just did.
Can I say it again?
Sure.
So a lot of the bullshit is actually, so we help people remove this bullshit, but also talking about it more seriously. We've saved marriages, companies, careers, through understanding that there's a lot that stops us and prevents us from growing, from expanding, from becoming the person that we know we can be. And all these things are inside it, and we can do something about that. On one hand, it's worse because you have to take responsibility. You can't blame someone else or your parents for the rest of throughout your life. On the other hand, the good thing is that we can do something about it. So what we do is we run courses for individuals and workshops and boot camps for companies to grow, to have people, to develop people and teams at the same time, and develop their emotional intelligence, their empathy, their self-awareness, to have more constructive relationships, more genuine relationships, be in touch with the people, with themselves, be able to have conversations about emotions in the workplace, respect everyone else's emotions, how to handle your fears, your sense of guilt or inadequacy that we all have at some point, our egos, our vulnerability. So this is what we do.
And I guess, or I'd be interested, or our listeners would be interested. You mentioned at the beginning that really the value of a company is the human aspect, the relationships, and when I look at the breakdown of your course, there were some wonderful titles. I hope you don't mind me mentioning. There was the mental chatter. There was about your story, the journey to happiness, the practice of gratitude. Wonderful kind of aspects and self-exploration there. From a corporate, how have you noticed? From an individual, I can definitely see 100%. I mean, that's wonderful. But from a corporate aspect, I guess what interests me is, are you working within the individuals, so the individuals find themselves and work through that, or are you maybe working within management as a whole to begin to appreciate that aspect within individuals?
So before I actually answer that question, I want to say another thing, that before COVID, occasionally I would meet with people or prospective, corporate clients, and some of them would give me the look of, yeah, it's all fluffy and it's all this soft stuff. After COVID, it's never happened anymore. People are a lot more aware that mental health in general is something that we need to take care of. The people that take our courses, one of the common feedback that we hear all the time is, why don't they teach us these things at school?
Yes.
Why don't they teach us what love is, what validation is, what purpose is? What do I do with my fears? What do I do with the voice in my head? Why don't they teach it to us at school? So companies, we work with individuals in companies as well. Sometimes we have companies that actually send a few people to the most transformative courses, like a 3-month course. So they send them like individual participants of the course.
Sure.
Yeah, but the other thing we do with companies is that occasionally we do 1 or 2 workshops, but there's one program that we call Leadership Bootcamp that is a number of workshops. So it's actually a journey. And normally the management team of a company participates. So it's like 10 people, say. And it's a massively transformative experience, because with that we actually have a huge impact on an entire company. And yeah, so we design a number of sessions where we go through different topics, and allow also all the participants to practice the new tools in their work and personal life. Why is it so important for companies as well? Now imagine, the first thing that our course does is actually brings people together, and and even when it happens to when we do it in our in course for individuals, we have people from different nationalities, age, professions, education, etc. So you might expect actually that there's even more diversity than when we work in a company, right? So even the people from our course for individuals, they like after the first session, they feel like they've known each other for forever, and they immediately start noticing that while our circumstances may all be different, the mechanisms of our mind are the same for everyone, and the challenges are the same. And so the first impact that we have when we work with companies is that even with teams, normally the management team are not even a good management team, they're not necessarily like the closest people and the most familiar people with each other, right? So that is one of the first things that changes immediately. Everybody is. We also do some magic before our courses where we do some pre-work that brings people together. But then when we start our boot camps, we create an atmosphere where everybody can really open up, non-judgmental, and everybody lowers their defenses and they start talking about issues that they've never faced before, they never shared before. So one, it's almost a byproduct, but it's fundamental, is that the management team is that everybody's like, they're really close now. They know each other a lot more. And then the other thing that happens is that they develop similar tools. So they develop a language and processes and practices that now they share. So all of a sudden they have the same tools to something unexpected happens or undesirable happens, they have the same tools how to tackle that. Fear, they have some fear of something that could happen, they have the same tools to tackle that. And they bring new people in, they want to integrate them, they have the same tools to tackle them. When as leaders also, everybody is typically team leader of a separate team. And again, they have the same tools to be good leaders, like they can motivate and inspiring leaders, and they speak the same language. And all of a sudden, in the company, they realize that they're being led by people that are close to each other, they know each other, they respect each other, and they use similar language to face the different situations of work. It's incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful.
That's brilliant. It's I was wondering because we've a few of our guests we've discussed how they work or how they've adapted to working in these. I think I'm right in saying these post-COVID times, or coming to the end, or maybe a new era. And obviously, whatever way anyone has interpreted the last 2 or 3 years, it's certainly been traumatic. It's been life-changing. But do you feel that the openness, which I know that which you've just spoken about here, how now companies are embracing the power of coaching, embracing the human, maybe that's because we've all felt a bit vulnerable, we've all felt sort of fallible, we've all felt that our world's been tipped up and upside down a little bit. Do you feel that that would never have happened? Do you feel that that it's almost like the companies now are seeing are doing the work which maybe they've kind of known needed to be done, but it's kind of been brushed under the carpet, and now the carpet's been pulled away, and then it's like the soft element of running a business, of running a multinational has come to the fore.
So even pre-COVID, I thought that was the direction anyway. Okay. I think that COVID accelerated it. And I think that was the direction anyway, because with more automation and more artificial intelligence, really a company can delegate to machines a lot of the daily work. What is left is what can be replicated by a machine, even if very intelligent. And so that what is left is really the human aspect. And so I saw that the direction was there anyway. And then, of course, it comes the also the need to let people become who they are, because if my work in an office, if my work can be completely described by the processes that I follow, then it can be delegated to a machine. If there's no if there must be an element of creativity, it can be in creating something new, or it can be in creating a different way to respond to something unexpected. But that creativity comes from allowing all the employees to be themselves, not to follow a procedure or to follow a certain standard. So normally when anyone, even a CEO, when they go and take a new position, they always often feel like the imposter syndrome, because they think, oh, I should be doing this and this, and they try to emulate an idea of that they have. A CEO should behave in this way, or a team manager should behave in that way. They try to emulate that idea, and by doing that, they're actually not being themselves. But being themselves is the part that is creative and unique about them. So companies know that they need to nurture that, and also they need to create environments where people at work where people feel at ease and not under tension or frustration. So the emotional intelligence bit and the emotional hygiene bit, as we like to call it, is becoming more and more relevant.
I read this wonderful book a few years ago. I've actually forgotten it. I've forgotten the name now. Oh yeah, Reinventing Organizations by Frederick Laloux. Wonderful book, and it talked about how certain companies had shifted from a hierarchical sort of control structure to more of an autonomous. And it was really interesting, because obviously that's allowing the employees at different levels of management to really self-organize and self-produce, and the examples which the book talked about, there was a definite there wasn't just the human element which grew, but the revenue and the whole company grew. Have the companies fed back to you, some of your clients, some of your corporate clients, about how embracing the softer side, embracing the human side, has actually led to a change in the productivity, for instance, or the revenue of these companies?
It's always difficult to put like a figure on that, but what I can see is that all the companies that we work with, and it's not because it's us, but talking about the topic, then they want more.
Yeah,
they always want more. So they want to continue to deepen the personal growth journey and to continue the practice. So they always want more. So something good. There must be some good benefit impact there. Yeah. The other thing that is happening more and more often, and it could be because, of course, the people the companies that talk with us are people that have some interest. So there might be a bias here, but I keep hearing more and more of people that say, once we speak the same language, and once we really feel that we're part of the same company, anything can happen, and we will handle it.
Yeah.
And so I talk with people, and we CEOs or top managers of companies, and they say, I want in my company, I want people to be able to talk about their emotions. I want them to be able to not feel afraid of that, and I want them to be able to ask other people how they're feeling and listen.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of focus on empathy.
The greatest thing I personally experienced in the realm of learning how to be empathetic was I worked for a manager who said the job of our management team was to sing each other's songs. So we had people from different cultures there, and he would hand out these printed song sheets, and we'd have to sing whatever song was on the sheet in the language it was written in. So it was phonetic, so we could pronounce it. I thought, what a powerful idea. And you've just taken that into the stratosphere with your training here, speaking each other's languages. It's so important, especially with the new generations coming into the workforce now. They almost speak a different language than we do.
Mm-hmm.
And so getting them to calm down a little bit and say, look, not everybody has to sound, talk, walk, and act exactly like you do. And that's okay. You don't have to let that disturb you. That's a good thing. Man. Davide, where were you when I started working years ago?
Well, I'm here now.
It was, back then it was all shut up, do your job. What's an emotion?
Now that you're saying that, the best boss I've ever had was actually a super empathetic person. Super. I learned so much from him.
Mm-hmm.
And I had probably the best times of my career when I was working for him. So yes.
I would. Sorry.
No, go ahead, James.
I see that one of the phrases within your course is inner resilience, which again, I talk about it a lot in various aspects, and there's obviously outer resilience and inner for me, but you've also mentioned about authenticity, vulnerability, fear, and I always find it fascinating how we might feel resilient, but then something comes along and sort of knocks us, and then if we delve into what some people might consider those sort of fluffy, ethereal matters of happiness, gratitude, vulnerability. I found that by embracing those, and that I've become more resilient. But resilience itself is seen as a harder thing, isn't it? It's sort of being able to cope, whereas obviously happiness and gratitude and fear, they're sort of more sort of soft and squidgy. So I always find that so fascinating, how delving into those areas where we feel so much more vulnerable, when we begin to work through that and explore them, we actually become more resilient. Have you seen that?
Yes. So actually, while you were talking, I realized that I started my story with saying something, and then I didn't close it. Because when I left the world of physics to join corporations, that the reason was that it wasn't practical enough, it wasn't tangible enough. And actually, this is, for me, after many years in corporations, I realized that a good salary, the second house on the beach, a great car. These are not real things. The real thing is actually the resilience, the happiness, the profound sense of fulfillment. And of course, you need some money to live, and of course, you want to have a good lifestyle. But once that's kind of secured, everything else is more intangible, in my opinion, than how you're actually feeling and how you're enjoying all that you have. Are you enjoying it? And so that is the tangible part. So the happiness, the sense of I feel like a complete human being. I don't feel that I have parts missing and I need to chase the next achievement to feel complete. And then when I get the next achievement, I will need another one. So I will never feel complete.
Yeah, we always become addicted to the next destination. It's always the next thing. So one of the challenges, I want to follow on James's point, practicing resilience is always painful because we have to practice it when something painful is happening. So what is a technique you can share with our audience on how to sort of, how do you do that? Do you try to let your emotions subside, or do you just let it all out and punch the wall, or what do you do in those really tough times?
I'll first say that you don't learn surfing when the tsunami comes. You need to learn surfing from the smaller waves. Okay. And then even when you learn surfing from the smaller waves, then the 10-foot wave comes and you're back in the water, and it's okay. Then you go up again and you start from the third, the fourth, the fifth, etc. You go ahead. So there's no trick. One thing one word that is key anyway for resilience is acceptance. And a lot of the times we resist what is. Something happens and then we spend all the time in our head saying, this is unfair, it shouldn't have happened, I shouldn't have said that, I shouldn't have done that, or that person shouldn't have said that or done that. So there's a lot of this is where did things go wrong, which is okay to learn to look at where things go wrong, but you shouldn't spend all the time there. So acceptance is a big word. Another word is responsibility, but in the what's the word, etymological, in the old meaning of the word, ability to respond.
Yes.
So something happens. Okay, there is something that I may learn from how I got here. Okay, but then the point is resilience means, okay, I accepted this has happened. What is my ability to respond? What am I gonna do now from here? Forget the sense of guilt if I've done something wrong. Okay, if I have something to learn, let's learn it, but I shouldn't then live in a life of guilt. It doesn't make sense. And so what is my ability to respond? And then I do what I can do from that moment.
That's very powerful.
Acceptance is so powerful, isn't it? It's something which I've sort of through my journey, the acceptance had become so important. It's a way out of, well, I found that it was a way out of blame. It was a way out of being a victim. It was a way out of self-blame. It was a way out of blaming others. And again, it's sort of one of those things which might have been seen as maybe a softer thing, but in actual fact, it just grows resilience. It provides such a strong foundation, right?
And again, I think it's the other way around. How hard is it to accept? Because how easy is it to blame someone else or to find excuses? or even to blame ourselves, no? And then
Absolutely.
it doesn't serve me, but I create this world where I'm not good enough, and I always make mistakes, and I'll never grow, I'll never fulfill my role in this world, etc. But accepting is actually hard, and saying and taking responsibility, as in, okay, this is it. What do I do from here? Stop the bullshit again, and let's act.
That's a great phrase. I love that.
Mm.
Yeah, because you're right. It's easy for us to accept that somebody else did something wrong, in our opinion, but it's very hard to just accept and move past that and just say that's what they did. We have no control over that. So yeah, it's I'm glad you're in companies teaching this, because nobody teaches this in school.
No.
Certainly in my engineering career, nobody talked about this.
And even when I blame my parents or my past for something, now there's a level of empathy here that is important. It's important that with myself, again, part of acceptance is also accepting who I am. So making peace with whatever happened. Then if it's good, because sometimes we feel guilty if we had it too good in life, or if it's bad and it made us like a person with, hard habits or attitude. And so first of all is make peace with who we are. And at the end of the day, we are where we are because all the experience and the tools that we develop in life took us to where we are. So making peace with that. But then don't feel defined by our past. There's really no need to be defined by our past. Our past, the power of our past is to have led us to where we are right now. But the power of the present is that if we don't like it, we can change it. So if I keep blaming my past for who I am, then I'm giving all the power to the past, and I don't do anything now, which is actually where I can change. And so accepting myself with a lot of compassion and empathy, but then taking the responsibility that right now, if I don't like what I see, I can change. I can work
So
on
powerful.
Myself. And navigating life with the love as well, right? It's self-love, love for others, trying to, at times, maybe it might be hard, but
could.
Yeah, but seeing life through seeing life's trials and tribulations, and being grateful to be offered the opportunity to gain those insights. It's so powerful, isn't it? That the inner work which you offer to your clients, both individuals and corporate. Embracing coaching in my life was so powerful, and I think you summed it up so well in the sense of that. And this kind of brings us back almost to why isn't this stuff taught in school? Because the idea that we don't need to be defined by maybe our parental expectations or our schooling or our first career or our personal kind of aspects that we can create, and we can almost be thankful for those insights, and then we can create the life of James, the new James. It's just incredibly powerful, isn't it? It's sort of life-changing in so many ways, and I'm sure you've seen that with your clients, and David, and
I've seen many transformations, and I've seen people that went from being like shy, shy person to opening 3 companies after a course, and embracing totally embracing who they were without any embarrassment at all. I've seen people, again, I've seen marriages saved, and or changing careers, and people actually leaving their career to embrace something that was more authentic for them. And the power is not necessarily like something like that big. It may just be like everything, the quality of everything has become like one step up. Well, I've seen also parents changing a lot, like changing a lot the way they're parenting, or the same also for this is actually, so my brother took my course as well, and
there's a testimonial.
my
My brother doesn't listen to anything. Good for you.
So he took the last cohort, the one that finished in December, and he loved it. But of course, we have a common mother, and it's funny because I make fun of my mom on Facebook, so I can say publicly, like she's originally she's Croatian and 82 now, so she's old school. And she would say things like with no filter, and of course she would do that to both to me and my brother, like never happy of what we do, and it's not enough, and we should do more, etc. And at some point, I managed to find different tools to accept that was the best she was doing, and that was her way to show her love. And my relationship with her changed completely and improved a lot. And I could see, of all the bad things that she says, because I don't know, like one of the last video calls that we had is saying, she was asking, "Are you tired?" And I say, "Do I look tired?" And she goes, "No, you just look bald." Or yeah, but or another famous one. So I introduced her my now current partner, and then he came back to London before me, and I stayed with my parents for a few more days. And so I asked my parents, "So what do you think of Fran? What do you think of Fran?" And my mom goes, "He's very handsome, intelligent. He looks like a really good guy. The problem is you." So that's my mom. And
what a great mom.
So, and I love her, and I totally love her. And I see I see the humoristic side, but I remember that in the past it wasn't necessarily like that. And for my brother, for example, it's been much more difficult. And they've all my mom and my brother have always been fighting. So now he took my course, and during the course, he actually told me, "Now I have a completely different tool to handle it." So yeah, so it may not, it's not necessarily that the change is like a career change or like a drastic change, but it can be something so important. Also with this, I'm so happy that my brother now finally is getting closer to my mom, and because I mean she's 82, so I obviously wish her to live a lot, but she's close to the end. So I'm really, really happy that they're getting closer now.
That's such a beautiful story. I love the idea of especially the stories you shared about how the training that you offer, even if someone stayed in the same kind of job or career, it's still going to have much more flavor. It's going to be more fun. It's going to just be better overall because of the building of the resilience habit, the building of the communications. This is really strong stuff, man.
So another one of our students, a multi-entrepreneur, at the end of the course, at the last session, he told us, I finally feel prepared for life.
Mhm.
It was like, wow, that's a great testimony.
That's a beautiful testimony. So it reminds me of the famous Isaac Newton quote when he said, after many decades of being, a preeminent scientist, he said, I think I'm finally beginning to understand gravity. It's like, oh my goodness. I love these stories of men and women when the brain just, and it's happened to me, where the brain just opens up after years and years of studying something. All of a sudden, boom, there it is. It's like, there's no timeline on this.
Yeah, the
I think what's, and maybe I've just realized something. It's like we sort of discussed or mentioned, why isn't this sort of stuff taught in schools? And obviously, in many ways, it'd be wonderful for high school students to have a foundation. But what we've really touched on there is, it's actually, we still need our journey. Like, imagine if we had everything figured out at 18. Whereas I sometimes reflect on that, if I'd gone to a gypsy lady and she'd looked into her crystal ball and she told me the things which I've been through, I'd have gone, oh my goodness, like, oh my goodness me. But actually, it's our journeys, and it's the insights and where they lead, and us gaining those insights and accepting and really stepping into our fears and really discovering gratitude. And I think I can only speak for myself here, but if I'd been handed life on a silver platter at 18, I would never have found this out. It was like, it's kind of like, you can be shown how to ride a bike, but if you really want to ride a bike, you maybe need to take up mountain biking, or you just need to do a lot of miles on the bike, or running, or swimming, or yachting, or shooting, or like whatever it is. And it's by all these screw ups along the way where they just open doors to self discovery, right?
There's a saying that when the teacher needs it, when the student needs it,
That's
the teacher appears. No?
Yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah, it's so true in my life.
So
we have time for one more question there, James.
Okay.
Or Davide, one of you guys.
I was just wanting to listen to.
Okay, yeah. So
answer.
now, I'll even. So first of all, we are also looking at creating the equivalent of a course for teenagers, and we've already been working with organizations of with younger people. Even if you are taught these things at school, you still have your life, you still have your journey. What changes is that you have more tools. You have more tools for your journey. And also, not everything can be understood immediately, but definitely, our youngest students are at the moment are around 25 years old now. And everyone, like 2 or 3 sessions into the course, everyone tells them, I wish I had been through this course at your age.
Yep.
You still have your journey in front of you, but you have more tools to go through. So that nobody's spoiling it for you because you've had
no.
You've been
And
exposed
having
to
a few more
this more
tools.
powerful
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. True.
So
Well,
there's gonna
yeah, Mike,
oh, no.
over to you, sir.
Oh, did you have another question, James?
No. Oh, no.
So I was going to say the link to contact Davide is going to be down below the video, along with a link to his website. And recommend everybody contact him. Check out these courses. And
Check out our blogs as well. We write
yes,
a blog every other week, and that's free. And that's like the first step if you want to learn more about the topics. Of course, a blog is more shallow than a course, obviously, but the blogs are really cool tools, and we always try to be practical also in our blogs to give some practical advice on how to handle the different situations of our lives. So that's also something that
the blog is excellent. I've read 2 so far, and they're really good. Anyway, folks, send in your comments, and we'll do our best to get Davide back here again in a few months. Thanks for being with us today, man.
Thank you
so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much.